I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be.
Welcome to the show. You are one-on-one with Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, and online all the time at westhesportsguy.com. Make sure you bookmark that site to get all my social media links, all the previews, recaps, weekly reviews, all the things that you need to know in the world of sports, conveniently located for you at westhesportsguy.com. It is great to be back. If you aren't following me on social media, make sure you, again, bookmark westhesportsguy.com to get all those links for those social media sites. I've been sharing not endless updates about my physical therapy and whatnot, but basically just to give a quick little update, everything is fine. I am over 2 months post-operation on my torn bicep tendon. It was work-related, not going to get into it much more than that. It is all taken care of. It is all fine and dandy. Medically, everything's been just A+. Cannot say enough about the treatment, surgery, and everything else before and after what's been going on. So I definitely thank everybody involved with that. Too many to thank, and can't go endless amount of names with that. But also thank you for continuing to watch old episodes, new things that I'm updating out there, following me on social media, subscribing, liking, commenting on the videos. Again, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. I cannot thank you enough for that. I appreciate it all. Everything's good. I'm raring to go. Let's get into it this week with a couple things that I just kind of want to give a little lighthearted explanation on, but things that definitely have been on my mind for a bit. First and foremost, I don't talk a lot about college football in here. Mainly it's because there's just so much that goes on in a weekly time frame when it's college football season. It's mainly, for me, I just want to watch good games. That's all I care about. I don't really care so much about a lot of the drama, any of other nonsense going on with it. But in terms of drama, I got to mention this part of it, because when you've got Alabama head coach Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher, the head coach at Texas A&M University, they're both in the same conference, the SEC. Everybody is a huge fan of an SEC team, I would imagine, or they just despise the SEC. It's one or the other. You're either a huge fan of a team in that conference, or you despise the conference. It's one or the other. That's usually how it goes with the relationship in college football, with fans in particular, with that conference in the southeastern part of the United States. Nick Saban decided to light a hornet's nest by basically saying that Jimbo Fisher, the head coach at Texas A&M, bought his entire rooting class due to name, image, and likeness, the NIL deals that have been going around now for, better part of 2-3 years since the Supreme Court decision came down, unanimously saying 9-0, which it's kind of shocking you get a unanimous Supreme Court decision nowadays on things that are kind of obvious or constitutionally valid. In a lot of cases, not going to get bogged down with that stuff at the moment, but the NIL 9-0 said that the NCAA needed to start paying its players that are making them billions of dollars. We all know this process. That's the reason why you don't have an NCAA football game anymore, because of EA being sued by a player by the name of Ed O'Bannon. Longtime college basketball in the mid-90s at UCLA sued EA. It was a long litigation, finally got some kind of compensation for it. Class action lawsuit is what it was. Point being is that now we're in name, image, and likeness hell. Transfer portals and all kinds of craziness going on, where it's basically somewhat implied that players are going to schools based off of name, image, and likeness deals, even though Saban is correct that there are some rules in place that prevent that from being outwardly done on a public basis to say, hey, we're paying this guy X amount of money via this advertising deal to come and play for our school. There are rules in place for that, you would think. But in the same breath of Nick Saban doing this about Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M, a conference rival, FYI, he says Alabama doesn't do that. Ha! That's funny. That's very funny, Nick. I find that hard to believe that even before name, image, and likeness, that anybody didn't participate in paying or compensating a player either directly or indirectly. We all know the history of SMU, and they got the death penalty in the late 80s for basically outwardly paying their players straight up. We saw that 30 for 30. You probably did. I know I've seen that multiple times. And it's hard to believe that in that day and age, not every college all over the country did that, let alone in that conference that SMU was a part of. But especially this day and age, do you expect me to believe Nick Saban in Alabama does not do something with name, image, and likeness? You just said last year your quarterback, Bryce Young, was getting a huge name, image, and likeness deal, not to come play for Alabama, but the fact that he's at Alabama and he's capitalizing on the name, image, and likeness thing to get some extra compensation on the side while playing at Alabama. So please, head coach Nick Saban, you are probably the greatest college football head coach of this era. You're hard to top. Let's stop the BS. Stop it. Jimbo Fisher, yes, he handled it in a way that is unexpected nowadays. He went scorched earth after Nick Saban. The next day when that was publicly made that Nick Saban was calling him out for buying his entire recruiting class. And Jimbo Fisher went scorched earth. Believe me, I want some more of this honesty. I love it. Give me some hard truths. I don't want some cliched answers. I want some absolute honesty. And it's good. It's refreshing to see. Mark your calendars. It's early October when these two play each other. I think it's going to be in Tuscaloosa this year, but I cannot wait to watch this game. It's going to be the most highly anticipated SEC regular season game in quite some time. And on the flip side of things, you've got Major League Baseball and Chicago White Sox shortstop Tim Anderson and the New York Yankees third baseman Josh Donaldson. Tim Anderson, he's a great player, first and foremost. He's probably one of the more well-rounded shortstops in Major League Baseball today. Am I going to go as far to say from what he gave in a Sports Illustrated interview in 2019 that he considers himself in that interview in Sports Illustrated in 2019 to be the modern-day version of Jackie Robinson. That's according to Tim Anderson in 2019. Josh Donaldson is a prickly pear. There's no doubt about that. He is upfront for the most part, and he will say things directly to you if he finds a flaw in something. We've seen many examples of this for many different teams that he's played for, via Oakland, Toronto, Atlanta, Minnesota, now the Yankees. It's hard to enjoy the guy unless he's playing for your team. He rubs people the wrong way, simply put. According to him, he's been calling Tim Anderson Jackie since that interview given to Sports Illustrated in 2019. That baseball season, 2020, 2021, and now this year, 2022. We are not getting any signal that there's a problem with this until now in 2022 from Tim Anderson, who said after the fact that he found it disrespectful. And he said, nope, that's it, enough with it. Josh Donaldson was pretty open and upfront saying what he did, what he said to him, calling him Jackie, and he's been doing it since the context of this interview in 2019. This got taken to a whole nother level when after a game, recent series between the White Sox and Yankees, Tim Anderson took offense to a hard tag by Josh Donaldson. Benches somewhat cleared, but in that brouhaha, Donaldson called him Jackie. And then that's why we had a big thing in a game in the middle of that series in New York. But after that game, with all the brouhaha happening and festering and everything else, Tony La Russa had to take it a step further, the manager of the Chicago White Sox, by saying that it was a racist comment. I don't think I would go that far in saying that. If Anderson found that disrespectful, that's between him and Donaldson. And then when a reporter asked Tim Anderson, do you agree with your manager's sentiment about it being a racist comment? Anderson agreed with it, said same. I don't know where to go with this anymore. Because, again, if it's between Anderson and Donaldson, but then the manager has to interject himself, I understand you're defending your player. You're with a team that is kind of struggling at the moment. Tim Anderson is having a pretty good year. He's going to probably be have another all-star season or caliber season. I don't know off the top of my head if he's actually made an all-star team yet, but he's probably going to get one this year the way he's going this season. But this is between Anderson and Donaldson. It needs to be settled that way, and it needs to be settled in the midst of whether or not some form of punishment is going to come down the line, which it did. Major League Baseball suspended Josh Donaldson a game for calling him Jackie. Okay, fine. This is the day and age we live in. It's amazing. But I would like to ask Tim Anderson one question. Just one question. And I didn't hear anybody ask this question of him. So I'd like to ask him this question. Tim Anderson, shortstop of the Chicago White Sox. Do you still consider yourself to be this modern era's version of Jackie Robinson? Yes or no? Yes or no? I just would like that to be put on the record. Does he still consider himself to be this era's modern day Jackie Robinson? I just want to know the answer to that question. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell below to get notified when all the latest videos are posted here on this channel, whether it be at YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, or Odyssey. Bookmark westthesportsguy.com. Getting all those social media links conveniently located for you. All the previews, recaps, Stanley Cup playoffs is heating up or melting down, however you want to look at it. Conference finals are getting underway shortly. The NBA Finals is halfway set with the Golden State Warriors getting back into it. Are they going to play the Heat or the Celtics? Find out. What was my preview? Make sure you bookmark westthesportsguy.com. And until then, I'll see you next time.